Okay, I would like to talk about undermining on the job. Again, this subject is going to be about undermining on the job. I think this is an important subject, and I can only go off my experience. I can't go off of other people's stories. I can't go off of what I see in the media. I mean, because there's so many misconstrued things out there. So again, I'm going to go off of my experience. I, in particularly, have been encountering what you call undermining. Undermining on in corporate America is when people are trying, when you are doing a job and you are doing it to the best of your ability, but people are trying to make you look a certain kind of way and appear a certain kind of way. So that's what I mean by undermining. This topic is very special to me because I know that there are a lot of people just in corporate America alone who have lost jobs, who have been lied on, who have been attacked behind closed doors, and then all of the print looks a certain kind of way. The verbal attacks, the undermining, the systematic stuff, but then all of the paperwork or all of the things is created to paint a picture about a person because people consider paper to be fact, which indeed paper is not always fact. Paper can be misconstrued. So I'm going to give you an example as I always do. So recently, I have been working on, well, number one, I was left to myself for the week. And I didn't realize it, but I was manipulated into the parking, what we call parking. So to get all the residents parked because the facility is new. So all the residents need to be parked. But what ended up happening is that there was someone that wanted me to create a document because they wanted to be able to keep up with everything. So I went in Excel and I created a document. There was another person that says, well, that ain't what I want. That ain't what I asked for. And it was mixed communication because they didn't understand that that document wasn't for them. That document was for internal so that we can keep up with everything. And then there was another person that saw the document and they said, I like the document. I think it's very well organized. I think you did a great job. So I didn't know that someone in particular didn't like or didn't want the document until I was told by the person who told me to create the document. And I began to realize that that person was trying to make me feel a certain kind of way by trying to say it a certain kind of way, like, it's not needed or, it's like, worthless, and I know that it wasn't said with those words, but it's how things are manipulated. So I let it go. I was like, well, okay, cool. You don't need the document, fine, just let it go. Let's move to the next thing. So, but I knew that that person wanted that document because that person wanted to keep up with everything. And that's the way that we could condense things and keep up with everything. So then another person comes along and they say that they like the document. They think it's a very good job. And they're gonna, do a little tweaking to it, add another column to it and put something in there and then send it to the person who said that blah, 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 they didn't want it. So I said, okay. And I left it as that. So it was decided to continue to use the document. So what people fail to realize what I mean by undermining, when you leave someone to do something, but you're trying to make them fail, that is undermining. So when you're working inside of a system, I want people to know this really, really clear. If you go look at my other video, in that video, I was telling you when I first started out in leasing and how people were stealing my sales because I wasn't aware of how the PM software worked. Now I'm aware of how that stuff worked. So this software that I'm working with, I tell people all the time, a computer doesn't jump up and move. People talk all the time and say, there's glitches, there's glitches, there's glitches. People do work and they work very, very hard and they will go in and snap people work and erase it. And they'll say, oh, you must didn't save it or, oh, you must didn't do that. I know people go through that all the time. And they say, oh, yes, I did. What happened? And then they go make them do it over again, just toiling with people. Or they'll do stuff like because they have access to the documents. You're not the only one that has access to the documents. So anybody who knows Excel, you know that multiple people have access to that document, especially if you go in there and give them access to that document. So that means that multiple people at any given time can tweak a document and mess with a document. So again, undermining. When you are doing a good job and you want to do a good job and you want to help people, but those people want to step on you and try to crush you and do you and try to screw you, and they're not for you. Undermining. Undermining. Trying to make you look a certain kind of way in documents, in prints. Trying to provoke you so they can lie about your attitude and about this and whatever else these people want to do. After they use you and take advantage of you, they try to screw you, you know. And it's amazing how many people go through this in corporate America. I've heard people talking about it years, even before I even knew how to work with things like Excel or documents and all that kind of stuff. I've heard people say that for years. You know, they go work so hard, they do something, and they'll go in and fluke it, you know. And it's always blamed on the system. It's always the system fault. Oh, it's the system. Oh, it's an accident. But it's different when people try to play with your mind and toy with your mind and manipulate you. And you know that things were erased, and they were erased intentionally so it would cause a conflict. Undermining. I want to encourage you today that no matter what they do, continue on. They got this old saying that says, when you know you did your best and you know you did good, continue on. Don't let them stress you out. They talk about you, they lie on you, they gossip about you, let them do whatever they want to do. And you continue on. Undermining. It's so much undermining in so many ways that is done on the job. I would have to make multiple videos to talk about so much undermining. It's done in so many ways. And it is an orchestration. It's not just one people. It's not just two people. It's not just three people. It's an orchestration of people. And I'm encouraged. Like, there is nothing about me that's unencouraged or discouraged. I am so encouraged. Because it is so amazing. It is so amazing when you're able to catch, like, okay, I can understand if that was one simple mistake. But when you erase an entire thing out of a database that I don't have access to, that was the universe allowing it to be told that, yes, it was intentionally being done. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't something you did. Because when you don't have access to certain, you know, anytime you work on jobs or you do things in the earth, there is certain information you don't have access to. You're given certain accesses, and then certain accesses you are not given. So when they went in and touched the access that I couldn't touch, it was just confirmation that, oh yeah, they was doing that. And yes, it was intentional. And yes, that's why they left you by yourself on the project. Because they knew exactly what they were doing. So to those people out there that you are experiencing undermining on your jobs, people who are trying to slight you in ways that are so subtle that they call it ghosting, where they try to have you questioning yourself, have you apologizing for something you're not doing. Be encouraged, honey. When the universe revealed to you, be very, very thankful. But more so, just be encouraged. That's all.